turn your phones off or put them on silent. Okay, so seatings, okay?
Yeah, that's
Lights?
yeah. Yes.
Okay, excellent. So before we get started, I'd just like to check with everybody on time. I know we initially agreed to 1 hour today. Is everybody still okay to fully participate for the full hour?
Yeah, yes.
Excellent. Okay, so the next thing I'd just like to check in with is, does everybody have the authority to settle? Should we reach, what I mean by that is, should we reach an agreement? Everybody can make the decision themselves without having to reach out to anybody else outside.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So how did we get here? Well, David, you initially approached me with your issue. We discussed it. I sent you out some information in regards to the mediation. Mr. Eastwood, I did the same with you. I can say that outside of this matter, I've had no prior association with either of you. And the contact that I have had with both of you has been about the same. Are there any questions in regards to that?
No. No.
Okay, so about me. I'm a second-year law student at CQU. I'm an accredited mediator. I have about 5 years' experience in mediations, mainly in family law matters. But enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about mediation. So if I could begin by saying that mediation is a voluntary process. Now, I understand that you've both made the effort to attend here yourselves, so I'd like to congratulate you both on that. So mediation is an opportunity for people encountering issues to come together and make the decisions themselves. Now, my role as a mediator is not to make the decisions for you. It's not to tell you what decisions to make. My role as a mediator is essentially to facilitate or assist you both in making your own decision making. So if I could just make that very clear, I'm an impartial party. I will not take sides. If at any time you feel as though I am not being impartial, just say so. So mediation is conducted confidentially. So this means, so far as the law allows, I will not disclose anything that was said here today. And this also goes for the private sessions. I will be taking brief notes, but these will be destroyed at the conclusion of our session today. So mediation is also conducted on a without prejudice basis. So this means, should your matter go to court, which I hope that it doesn't, that either party can lead evidence about what the other had said here today, nor can you request or produce any documents that were prepared for today's session. Are there any questions in regards to that?
No, good.
Okay, so the fun bit, the plus side of being mediation being conducted in confidence and on a without prejudice basis is that there is an opportunity for parties to make offers, to make concessions, to wheel and deal, and to fully explore all options in the time allocated without any fear of it being used against them at a later point in time. Because what happens in mediation stays in mediation. So I encourage you both to fully explore all options, to make concessions, and to have a good, robust discussion about this. And I'm sure that if you do, good things will happen. So now, procedure will follow shortly in this mediation, is that I'll ask each of you to make a main statement about your main concerns. Just make this brief. We'll have more time to go into more detail as mediation builds. But once you've done so, I'll just check in to see if I understand your statements correctly. Also seek to uncover any issues that may already be in agreement between the parties, and also areas which may need a bit more of an agreement or a bit more the decision making around the process. I'll write these issues on the whiteboard beside us, and this will be our big lifestyle agenda for us to work through, or for you both to work through, I should say.
Okay.
So normal part of mediation, which I may have flagged earlier, is private sessions. These are just opportunities for the mediator and myself to meet with either party one-on-one in a private setting. It's an opportunity for the private party to disclose anything or raise an issue which they may not wish to disclose in front of the other party. Look, I could call a private session if I feel an impasse is reached, or I could even call one when when I feel the majority of issues are already agreed upon. There's no fixed rule, so also either party is also free to request a private session at any particular time, at any reasonable time during the mediation. So, and lastly, I'd just like to add that the private sessions, the rules of confidentiality also extend to the private sessions. So I will not disclose anything to the outside party unless I was specifically requested to do so by the private party. Now, mediation, just like any conversation, works best when one party speaks and the other people listen. So if you do feel like saying something when one of the parties is saying something, please use the pens and the paper provided to write your notes, write your thoughts so you don't forget them when it's your turn to speak, and I'm sure it will be repaid in kind. Now, lastly, I'll just ask that no party would denigrate another in the mediation too. So in regard to the outcome today, a written agreement formed in mediation is not necessarily legally binding. If you would like it to be legally binding, both will have to state that you do wish to make it legally binding, and it will have to go through the courts and become a consent order or something of that nature. Now, before we begin, are there any questions that any of you may have in regards to how it may unfold today?
No.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I'm mindful of keeping it very equal between the parties. So I'll allocate 2 minutes each for either party to make their initial statements, and then we will get on to the joint session where we can fully discuss the issues at hand. So, David, since you initiated the mediation, I'll ask that you go first, and directly after, I will ask Mr. Eastwood if you could go second. Is that fine with you, Mr. Eastwood, that I've asked you to go?
Yeah, that's fine.
David, is that okay that I've asked you to?
Okay.
Okay, so, David, when you're ready, thank you.
All right. Well, for the past 3 years, Dad and I've been working on this beautiful old ute. He's spending every Sunday working my ass off, helping him out, because he said, as soon as I finish my apprenticeship, this car's mine. So I'm put that extra effort in, making it really nice. But now I've started dating someone, and Dad's saying, no, I can't have the ute. So I'm annoyed that he's gone back on his deal. He's always raised me to go back, not to go back on your word, and to be trustworthy and honest. And as well, I have issues with the way he's talking about my new girlfriend, which he hasn't even met. And I think he just doesn't want me to move out with her. And yes, I don't know what his problem is. But yeah, we had an agreement. I fulfilled my end of the bargain, and now he's just being a stubborn old man and not giving me the ute.
I'm not going to give you the ute when she's a bloody go-go dancer.
She's not a go-go dancer. I don't know where you get that from.
Mr. Eastwood, if you'll have your turn shortly. Thank you. David, please.
Yeah, that's all I've got to say. So I just wish that he'd stick to his side of the bargain and give me the ute and give my new girlfriend a chance.
Okay. Mr. Eastwood, thank you.
Well, as David said, we've spent 3 years doing up this ute that his mother chose before she passed away. He's now got a new girlfriend and just doesn't have the time of day for anything other than her. I just don't believe that he's carrying on the values needed to take that ute. That's it.
Is there anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, so from my understanding, it seems the main issue here is the car.
Yep.
Now, the issue is the car. And the secondary, well, there's 2 other peripheral issues, which I think are snagging on the car. First one is Sally, the new partner, your new partner. How she holds up in the light of your father. The second is what I'd like to call here, what I'd like it to be known in this mediation as the understanding. So there was the promise of the car, or what would happen when David successfully completed his apprenticeship, and what would happen with the car. So if we could just call it the understanding, I think that would be.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
Okay, so these are the 2 peripheral issues. We have the car, and then we've got Sally, the new partner, her values, and then we have this thing called the understanding. Okay, so have I gotten it correct so far, as far as?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
David? Yep. Okay. So as a point of attack, I suggest, if it's all right with the both of you, if we could address the issue of David's new partner, Sally, first, and in starting that, I would like Mr. Eastwood, I would like you to explain how you feel about the issue.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, David came and told me that he was seeing a new girl. I've since heard from my good mate Greg that she's a go-go dancer.
Sorry, Greg?
Not a go-go
Yep,
dancer.
Greg. And
Her sister.
I don't think Greg would be lying to me about that stuff.
Greg wouldn't know. How would he know?
Well, he's probably at the strip club.
Yeah, probably.
David, if we could just give your father a chance to.
Okay, no.
David promised his mother that he would find someone like her, and I just don't believe that he's done that dating this woman.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. So it's important to you that any partner that your son was or is to find has to have the same principles and values that you and your wife brought David up with.
Yeah,
right?
and in saying that, he promised his mother that that's the type of woman that he would start seeing.
David, is there anything you may like to add to that?
I think that's what attracted me to her, is because she's like Mum.
Your mother wasn't a go-go dancer.
Neither is my girlfriend. She's a law student. Have you even thought to ask that? You haven't asked anything about you, going off what Greg has said.
Yeah, because you bloody don't talk to me.
You don't ask.
Why do I need to ask? You should come and talk to me.
I'm telling you now. She's a law student. Isn't that good?
I don't know, is it?
Yes, it is. Better than her sister, who's a go-go dancer. It's her sister, not her. Don't listen to Greg.
So Dave, from what I understand, there could be a certain chance of mistaken identity.
There is, yeah.
So the sister and Sally...
Yeah, she's got a twin sister.
Yep.
The twin sister does go-go dancing, and Sally is a law student. She doesn't even choose nowhere near strip clubs.
What is
She can't even walk.
She can't even walk.
No.
So, Mr. Eastwood, how would you feel if it was, in fact, a case of mistaken identity?
Well, I'd be having some words to Greg about it if that was the case, but he's got no reason to lie to me. David's got a reason to lie to me.
Probably not lying to you, probably just mistaken identity. It looked like her. So we saw a lady dancing and saw me look like the same lady, but it's twin sister. Doesn't even know she's got a twin, would he?
I don't know, you'd have to ask him that.
So, Mr. Eastwood, the way I see this is, now correct me if I'm wrong, so it seems that it's not really about the person. It's more so about the principles and the values that they hold.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, but I suppose it would be easy to get it mixed up.
Well, if she was a twin, yeah.
And you say your girlfriend's son-in-law?
She is.
So she sounds like she's responsible?
She's got her head screwed on right, she's got goals, she's got ambitions, she's kind, she's just like Mum. That's what attracted me to her, because she's like Mum. And I knew Dad would approve of her. But now he doesn't even want to meet her.
So, Mr. Eastwood, would you be opposed to meeting or your son, possibly dating a woman who's respectful, goal-driven and responsible?
Well, no, I wouldn't. But if she's anything like a go-go dancer, then I want nothing to do with her.
Okay.
He's stubborn. She's not. Listen.
So, David, from my understanding is that, ever since you were a child, your father brought you up, your father and your mother brought you up with these certain principles and values and how you hold yourself.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that these principles have become your own?
They have, yes. Very much so. I admire you, Dad. I want to be just like you.
Mr. Eastwood, how do you feel knowing that you've imparted your principles onto your son, so much so that they've had a positive effect on him, and now that you basically both share the same principles? So the principles you have are the same principles as your son.
Yeah, pretty good. That was the point.
And from what I understand, David has used those same principles in finding, as a measure in finding another partner.
Yeah. Apparently.
So there's an agreement there that you both share the same principles.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so.
And David, you yourself, from what I've heard, you've stated that the principles that your new partner shares are the same as yours.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and same with Mum and Dad. Like I said, that's what attracted me to her.
So in fact, the way I see it, there may be three spheres, which are all the spheres of principles that are all the same, potentially.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. So, have you met Sally?
No.
Would you be opening to meeting her instead of relying on what your friend Greg said?
Well, yeah, I suppose I could meet her.
David?
Yeah, I'd like that.
You'd like your father?
Yeah, I want them to meet. I've been trying to tell that, but he's got no interest in meeting her.
would you like to meet this new partner yourself, and then you can form your own opinions? There's no agreement that you have to like her. There's no agreement at all. It's just...
Yeah, that'd be alright. Just as long as it didn't move any further than just a meeting and I didn't have to commit to liking her, I'd be alright with that.
Oh no, we're not going to ask you to agree to like her. So, is there any chance that we could possibly, in the near future, that we could possibly...
Yeah, like that one. Any Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening for dinner or something?
Yeah, well, don't have anything to do now that the youth's finished on Sunday.
Sure. So, I heard you say Sunday dinner.
Yep. She's studies all during the week, then Sunday she tutors law and then she has yoga, so Sunday evenings will be perfect.
And you'd be open to that, Mr. Eastwood?
Yep. I'll as long as I don't have to cook.
Yep, we'll have something nice. One of your roast ducks you like.
Okay, excellent. Well, from what I can gather in the last 10 minutes or so, you've done an exceptional job. I think we've reached a point of agreement here that we will come back to later. So I think in using this good momentum, we'll move forward to the next issue, which is the issue about the car and the understanding that you both had in regards to what would happen when Dave finished his apprenticeship and how he perceived that he's probably going to receive the car as a result of successfully completing his course.
Yeah.
So before we converse jointly on that matter, I would just like to break into a private session.
Okay.
Mr. Eastwood, I'll request that you accompany me to the first private session. David, thank you.
All right.
We'll call you in shortly.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Eastwood, I'll just have to remind you that the rules of confidentiality also apply to the private sessions. So anything disclosed in here, I won't say to David unless you specifically request me to do so. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Eastwood, you're a no-nonsense kind of fellow.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not going to waste your time. Listen, tell me, how do you see the rest of this session, this mediation, and the rest of the days playing out if you and your son don't reach an agreement in regards to this issue of the understanding?
Well, realistically, like if nothing happens, then he's just not getting the car.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And if he didn't get the car, what do you think would happen?
Well, he'd probably stop talking to me.
Stop talking to you? Would he take you to court?
Probably not. Probably. I don't really know.
He could.
He could.
And if he takes you to court over the car, what happens? You may keep the car, you may lose the car.
Yep, but he will definitely be done. There'll be no relationship there.
Well, that's unfortunate. So you could potentially lose the car, lose communication with your son, which you've made it quite clear that that's something that's very important to you.
Yeah, well, I think, like, if the car's gone, he's got no reason to come back. Got no reason to come back and visit me, and then I'll be all alone on the property, and that's the end of it.
So you feel as though losing the car would be losing your son?
Yeah.
You feel as though maybe keeping the car would, I don't know, how can I put it, maybe be a bit of an anchorage point for your son to keep coming back?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, Mr. Eastwood, what am I not getting here? Can you please help me sort of understand how we can make this work between you and your son? I know this relationship is very important to you. I know the car, in fact, the way I see it, is a symbol of the connection that you both have. Is there any way we can move forward and help this relationship out?
Well, I don't really know. Like, I see it as once the car goes, he goes, and that's not what I want. So if I hold on to the car, I've got a reason to keep him coming back. So, I don't know, maybe if there's some kind of agreement that he is going to come and see me, I'd be willing to consider giving him the car.
Sure. Have you made it known to him that you, maybe you feel a bit concerned that, you know, if he was going to take the car that he might not come back or might cease communication with you at all?
Well, I thought by holding the car it'd dawn on him, but obviously not.
But you haven't said anything to him, Mr. Eastwood?
No.
Okay. How could we generate some options where we could make it known to David that it's still important to you to keep communication, and that in fact he could still keep communication and possibly get the car as well?
Well, I don't really know. Like, maybe we can look at getting another car or something to do up.
You mean another project car?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. That's a fantastic idea. And then that would be something that you could work on every Sunday.
Yeah, well,
Continue.
Obviously Sundays are free now that we don't have to work on the car.
Well, he needs another car.
Yeah.
He'd love that too, wouldn't he?
Well, I'd hope so.
I think he would. I'm pretty sure we can check back in with him and see if he would take that option up. I think his Sundays are still open. Well, that sounds like a fantastic idea. I think we should, now let's conclude this private session. We'll meet back up with David. I'll call David into a private session. But thank you. You've been very helpful, Mr. Eastwood.
Okay, thanks.
It's like a news reporter.